You know, you can be happily married and still feel lonely. No one warned me about that. Welcome back to season 4. We're talking about marriage and invisible transitions. On this channel, I share real life stories about change, identity, and growth. I share my own personal stories. I'm using them chronologically to explain, to share what steps transitions are, and how we can go through them. Because transitions don't just change our circumstances, they do change us internally very much. So I remember sitting somewhere before I came to the US in Nairobi. Everything was fine, really. We were not fighting, there was nothing dramatic that had happened. But inside, I felt disconnected from myself. And I think something had happened where the last conversation we had, because remember, if you listened to the previous episode, we had a mostly long distance relationship, and also the beginning of our marriage was also long distance. So I had come from London. Now I'm in Nairobi, preparing, waiting for my paperwork, preparing to go to the US to join my husband. At the time, he was stationed in Afghanistan with the US Army. So something had happened, and we had this conversation. We didn't have too many conversations because I think of where he was deployed. So we had this conversation, and there was no disagreement, but there was, oh, why didn't you tell me that, or why didn't you consult me, or why something to that effect. We didn't blow up. There was nothing to talk home about it. But it was an awakening of some sort, or a reminder of some sort to me of my new status with my husband. I'm now his wife. There are certain things that I expected, or that I would also expect of him. It went both ways. But I don't think I had really come to terms with it. Because of the nature of how we had related even to this point, there was not much of proximity to each other that then meant that the way we related even after marriage would be a traditional one. So I think I was still probably operating from I don't know whether to say single woman. I don't know how you would put it. Because after marriage, he went to Kuwait. After marriage, I went back to London. And then, yeah. So even at this point, we have not stayed together. And so things are still different for me. But that question that made me realize, oh, he is right. I should have, or he should have. That meant we were not operating from our individual lives. We are now operating as a unit. It's now a partnership. Certain things have to be passed through. Certain things need to be discussed. Certain things needs awareness on both ends, and probably agreement. And I had not considered those. And it felt very, very lonely. Not in the sense that there was something going wrong with him, but it was just a disconnection from my own self. I felt like I was losing myself because I had been used to making my own decisions. I had been used to doing things on my own. I had gotten a job. I had been living in my own house. I was not used to seeking permission, to passing certain decisions through someone or seeking their opinion about this and that unless I felt like it. It didn't feel like an obligation. However, at this point, it felt like that was an obligation, which I did not, not that I didn't agree with, but I had not come to terms with. Then there was a big shift that was coming also. I had finished my master's degree and I was in this transition period, this in between season of a few months. So I finished sometime in August. Is it? October actually. September, October. So I'm back in Kenya, and a reasonable time within which I was going to go to the US was somewhere in February or March. So there were these few months in between that, of course, I'm not looking for a job because why? I was preparing to leave the country and things like that. But still, there are questions I'm asking myself. I was working, I'm already used to my independence. What is this new life going to mean for me? And then also coming from a place where someone else sacrificed for me to go to school, to be where I was, to have managed to do the things that I had done, I was asking myself, am I letting those people down? Am I letting myself down by really not doing anything at this moment with my life, or not knowing where the next step was going to be for me? It felt like I was going to depend on someone financially for a while because I did not know what my next move was going to be and how long it was going to take for me to be stable again. Remember, I told you we are products of our environments, our bringing our experiences. I was brought up in a home where I saw a woman who worked day and night and worked very hard, very diligently to provide. So in my mind, that is my hero, that is my prototype, that is the person I look up to, that is what I want to emulate, that is who I want to become. And now I'm in this position where it doesn't seem like that is going to be a reality anytime soon because I don't know what's going to happen ahead. So I'm so conflicted and trying to feel like I'm pulling myself, I'm transforming into someone else that I don't know yet, and I don't know if I'm going to like that person yet. That conflict was tearing me apart. And I wished at that moment that it didn't feel that lonely as it felt, because I believed loneliness belonged to, single seasons of life where, okay, I gotta do what I gotta do, I don't depend on anyone, I don't pass my decisions through anyone, I don't seek anyone's permission. That once you were married, that feeling disappeared. However, that feeling was so glaring. It was so deep. And I didn't know how to describe how lonely I felt. I did not know how to describe it to myself. I did not know how to describe it to him. In fact, I felt like if I talked about it to him, it would mean like I was not ready to join him and to start, our lives together, things like that. It felt like, I really want this, but do I really want this? I was completely torn. Well, loneliness can show up when your identity is shifting. That's what I realized. When the old version of you is fading and the new version hasn't fully formed yet. So that season taught me something important. Feeling lonely, honestly, doesn't mean your marriage is failing. Sometimes it means you are actually becoming. What you're becoming, you still don't know. And becoming is rarely loud. It's very, very quiet. Those internal struggles that you're going through, things are changing and you don't know what they're changing into or if you're gonna like the change. Well, just a realization that marriage is not one defining moment, it's a series of quiet adjustments. And just when I thought I was beginning to adjust, guess what? Life shifted again. I found out I was pregnant. Have you ever felt lonely in a marriage? If you've ever felt alone in a season that looked stable from outside, tell me in the comments. Your story might help someone else feel less isolated. And if this journey resonates, subscribe and come back tomorrow because I'm sharing this story in order, one chapter at a time, so we can learn from it. See you in the next one, where I talk about the moment I found out I was pregnant and what I thought that meant for us.